This is a story about a boy who went to a war. It's 1969, it's Bentui province, and I was 18 years old, and I was off duty. I was going to Mama San's bar, and a black hand pulled me up in the back of the truck, and somebody stuck a joint in my mouth. On one side of me across the road, I could see the chopper field, hacked out of the jungle, green, lush, and penetrable. On the other side of the road, the Mekong, the big muddy, and the river flowed all the way down through the delta. Voices floated out of the river, rumors of torture, voices of the dead. I climbed into the back of that truck, sitting on the back tailgate, and we took off down that road, that 2-lane dirt road, noisy, squalling road. It seemed like the whole population of Vietnam was on the road that day. We borrowed the road, but the Vietnamese lived on it. And now we were moving fast, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, passing trucks, buses packed with people and their heads and their arms sticking out, tied on the top, fowling cages and mangy dogs, passing other trucks and armored personnel carrier and people, pedicabs, the dust boiling over the top of the truck, the stacks blowing smoke. And in the back of the truck, I see my buddies passing me a joint, and I'm sitting on the back of the truck and I'm watching the people on the road, and I keep thinking, man, I'm getting close to those people. We're getting awful close here, man. And the steel inches apart from flesh, and all of a sudden, hey man, shit, I think we hit something. Fuck, we ran over that guy. And a hail of rocks hit the side of the truck, and fuck you, GI! And a hail of beer cans returned, fuck you! And then we come slamming over the bridge, over the river and over the Mekong, into the city of bars, Ben Samoa. And I jump off the truck, hey, see you guys later, catch up with you guys later, see you at Mama San's. And then I'm walking in the market, and I'm standing in the market, and the first thing that hits my nose is the rotted smell of fish sauce. Nick Mom almost knocks me over. The tugging hands, the people shouting, the street kids trying to sell me watches, and cigarettes, and drugs, and shoes. Everything is for sale, everything. People tugging at me, you buy, hey GI, you come over here, you buy. And the black marketeers selling money, NPC for piastres, NPC here for piastres, come on GI. And I'm walking through the stalls, and I can see food, things to eat I've never seen before. Eel and fish swimming in buckets of water, and monkey paws and dog brains. And then I see boiled eggs and chicken on skewers, pieces of the jungle rolled up in newspaper to cure a fever. And in the air, smell of sweat and spices, rank meat covered in flies, and the tugging hands, you buy, GI, hey, you buy here. And then I'm walking out of the market into the city of Bentui and wide, sunbaked streets and plazas. And over by the river, I can see skiffs, and men poling their skiffs in the market, skiffs full of fruit and vegetables. And I'm walking down past the waterfront, the slaughterhouse, hanging on hooks, big chunks of raw red meat, flies. And then I'm walking past the corner where the withered and the forgotten sit. Every day there are new ones that take their place. As if the sea of suffering never stops, as if the whole of Asia is thrown or broken at my feet. And the eyes, I remember the eyes and the resignation. We will be here and then we won't be. And then the sight of that, the smell of that drives me down into the plaza, into the city, into the boulevards and the red flowers, and right down the middle of the boulevards, palm trees and banyan trees, taxi cabs and buses, people and soldiers, and a cement wall that everybody in town pisses on. It'll never be finished. And the further I walk, The further I walk into town, the less soldiers I see. Until there aren't any soldiers, me walking alone and walking in the night down these little narrow streets, cobblestone streets, and the little kids dancing in front of me. And I see the people, the Vietnamese, having their dinners, playing dice and mahjong, their simple lives like my family back home. And I swear I will never be these people's enemy. And the stars overhead, and me, this 18-year-old boy, far, far from anything I've ever known. There was Mama San's bar down a dingy little dark alley in the back street of Benson Moy. And Benson Moy is where the air pirates came off the decks, off their missions to get high, get drugs, get laid, and mostly get in trouble. And Benson Moy is a tiny, squalid town on a hillside trying to slide down into the river. It's filled with bars and brothels and cheap hotels and Buddhist shrines covered in Christmas tree lights, blinking on and off and making the town look really friendly. It was filled with soldiers and girls and those damn cowboys, the street kids, always trying to steal my watch and wallet. And down in the plaza, down by the river, one lone MP station, surrounded by wire, trying to keep the peace. Army justice, and all of us, armed to the fucking teeth. Like I went to the bar, down in the Mama San's, and Mama San be sitting at the end of the bar counting her pile of money, wearing her Christian Dior sunglasses, which she never ever took off. And she was short and gone to fat and still pretty face. She spoke perfect English when she wanted to, although she mostly preferred the dumb dink act that she used with the drunk GIs and EMPs that came around the bar to check up, see that everything was okay in the bar. Oh, she'd say, Captain, you come into my bar, Mama San's bar, #1 bar. Oh, no problem here. #1 bar in Benson Moy. I have a new girl here for you too, from Saigon. Very good bar, Captain, very clean. And the MP, satisfied, would turn around and leave. And Mama San would turn around and in perfect English she would say, my #1 GI, she would say, these Americans with their B- vocabularies. Mama San, she used to think I was the #1 GI. I really thank you very much, because I listened to the story she told me over and over late at night when the bar was empty. The story of her lost lover, her sergeant who went to France and never came back and left her with the object of her scorn, Papa San. And she thinking I was her ally in this war against Papa San. But he and I used to slip out the back of the bar when she wasn't looking to get high. Hi, and come back into the bar. And Mama San, she used to let me take off the Frank Sinatra tape. She used to say, you know Frank Sinatra, don't you, Jamie? Frank Sinatra, he's #1. Everybody loves Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is good for my business. I'd take Frank off and slap the doors on. She would cringe. And at night, bar would be packed with soldiers and sailors and GIs and grunts from the jungle and still smelling like the jungle. And the girls in their cheap makeup and those short vinyl dresses and those fine long legs and those high heels be trying to get some drunk GI to buy her a Saigon tea, watered down Coca-Cola, sit there to talk to her. You had to pay in Mama San's bar. Even to talk to the girls, you had to pay. And then Papa San and I slipping out of the back of the bar to go get high, leaving her beloved cash register in harm's way, and her yelling at us, you come back here, you both #10 GIs. And then we stagger back in. Our eyes glazed over in the bar, we packed with soldiers and gossip and war news and the booze and the drugs would be flowing. And me and the air pirates getting loud and the music kicking up off the tape player, the doors Light my fire. Hey, brother, light my joint, but don't smoke the whole damn thing. And we'd be getting noisy. Love was the glue that held us together. Death, we gave death his own chair. We gave death his own chair. We put death at the table with us, and we gave death a shot and his own joint, and don't touch death's stuff. And then we'd be spilling out of the back of the bar, the back alley, and the Christmas tree lights, the blue Christmas tree lights blinking on and off. And our shadows bouncing off the wall like some morality play. Gedros used to cough, Johnson, Brownie, Swan, and White with his cane with a silver eagle's head on it, headed out to the bars and the brothels and the dope dens. And we'd be drunk standing in the shadows. Hey, brother, don't forget me. Hey, don't forget me. I heard it all before out of the chopper fields, airfield. They'd be striding out of the mist and the black sky and the rain coming down sideways in the mist. Helmets with peace signs, beads, death's heads around their necks, and bandoliers and M6s loading onto the choppers at night. Those tom-tom thump of the blades waiting to lift off the black night. And I remember Tyler's black face. Better me than you, brother, you would say. Better me than you. Just don't forget me. Don't forget me. Terrible, terrible, fucked up things happen in wars. Twilight over the back of the airfield, sunset, huge red sky, blaze, orange, yellows, bleeding into the jungle, into the ink. I've seen two choppers trying to land at the same time and crash into each other in a fireball explosion of parts and steel and sending me scurrying to my knees, and I can feel the shrapnel on my uniform like hot rain getting it off of me, and then something rolling down a landing pad and coming to a stop right in front of my face. And it was First Class Martine's head in a helmet, his eyes already glazed over and a look of fucking amazement on his face. And his eyes staring at me. Christ, I've seen Martine just 2 days ago yell at some poor chimp for a uniform infraction, and now his head sat there staring at me right in the airfield, the blood seeping down the tarmac, and those eyes. Head just sat there until somebody came and picked it up and put it in the bed. It happened just that fast. My big fat grandma, woo, covered in flower dust and love. It was always me and you, Grandma. Always me and you. You and I took the lost horses off the road in the desert. Me running in the desert, no shoes until I was 17. And I got boots on now, Grandma, and my feet, they're all soft and white. And you made me wash my feet before dinner. You said, no dirty feet in this house at dinner time, no dogs and cats either. And your girl with his nose at the screen door was Mama. She made me stop bringing home all those lost animals. Used to say, we're not the lost and found department for the whole world, Jamie. This has got to stop. The jungle. Oh, man, the jungle. When I first went in, the fear, the vastness, the darkness, the canopy overhead. I'd be standing on the trail loading up my pack and my weapon struggling into 50 pounds of gear and trying to jam my weapon on my back. And I'd get loaded up, put my helmet on, I'd take a step and I'd be in the sunlight. And then I'd take another step and the blackness would eat me. I didn't want to follow my mind down the trail out there into the darkness. And the rain which finds its way into everything. And you can sit under your poncho, and you can pull it tight around you like it was your girlfriend. Hold it tight, and that rain will find a way into your ears and mouth and nose and into your boots and into your weapon. And we climb endlessly in the hills, endlessly, looking for Charlie. Me and Blake and Billy Brooks and Raymond, Randy, Swan, White. Stick your hand down the trail, you pull this man up to you. You pull your hand up, and that man pulls you up to him. And like a human rope, we go up the mountain that way, always towards the sky, pulling each other up towards the sky. And we set an ambush. We set an ambush at sunset, and we sit in the jungle, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And at night, we set the tripwires around us. We sleep inside with our heads touching, so we know we're there. We never sleep because of the noise of the jungle and the fear. Only the crazy have no fear, I'm telling you. Only the crazy, and White is crazy. He lives among us, but he's not really one of us. He's put something over his soul. But it doesn't matter out here in the bush. It doesn't matter what you did before or who you were. Out here, we're all brothers. And we cling to each other out here like lost men in a raft at sea. Well, after months of slogging around up in the hills, nothing happening, I guess the Army got tired of us. So they took a squad, they divided it right in two, and they gave Randy some new guys, and they gave me Billy Brooks, and White, and Randy, Swan, and Blake, Jake and Willie, two tired old papa sons from the motor pool they collected. And with some eloquence and some money, we went to the town of Bentoy. We hired ourselves 8 village girls dressed in little white clean tunics. I call us Company W for what the fuck is going to happen. See, we're the squad and fuck up shit canned out here in the boondocks for drugs, alcohol, AWOL, insubordination, desertion, threatening to kill a superior officer. Well, I was out here for insubordination. My indiscretion, Swan called it. Blake said, but you done the right thing. I mean, with Colonel Bar and all, I mean, a man is just a man. And that's the saying we had out there. They made us all equal, all on the same level. A man is just a man. I had my safe little job where I thought I was going to get my whole tour, and then I'm safe, go to Mama San's, get high, moving pins around a map of South Vietnam to show where our choppers were in the flight office. And one day, Colonel Bar walked in with a face as red as beefsteak. And I swear they sold 4 inches to the bottom of his uniform. He had so many medals on him that when he walked, he kind of listed over to the port side, being a good military man that he was. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was nigger this and nigger that. And I said, Colonel, you can't say that word. He said, what word is that, Private? And I said, you know that word. And we went at it right there, nose to nose, right there in the flight office, and them trying to run a war, and GIs jumping underneath the desk, and the papers flying. And that's exactly how I ended up out here in the sand pile. And that's exactly where Lieutenant Butterball found us. Lieutenant Butterball, he was thin as a bamboo shoot, bald, his head gleaming in the sunlight, jungle having eaten his hair away and his sweat running down his face. He got out of his jeep, he called us over to attention, put my shovel down. He said, men, he said, this is a very, very important mission. I mean, you boys haven't been exactly burning it up out there. You're not exactly earning your paychecks. You got to be the worst search and destroy squad this Army's ever seen. And you boys, you killed nobody. I mean, you got no body count. What are you doing out there? But that's all about to change. Because you're going out there in the back 40, and you're going to rebuild all those Vietnamese gun towers that were compromised in the previous campaign. You boys are about to earn your money, about to make the Vietnamese independent. And isn't that what this war is all about? Spun on his heels, and like he was going to go get in his Jeep, and then he turned around and said, damn, put some clothes on. You're all starting to look like the natives. I guess we did. We were half naked and had no shirts, and I hadn't had a haircut for 3 months. And he got in his Jeep, and he was gone. Blake said, damn, he got out of here quick. Shit, he sure don't want to catch what we got. Swan said, yeah, fuck up itis, man. It sure can ruin your career. And Blake goes, why us, man? Why they sending us out there on this ass-brain mission? I mean, didn't Charlie already blow up those gun towers and run Jake and relatives off? Why us? Swan said, why us? Well, Blake, my man, they got to have something for us to do. I mean, they can't leave us out here on the sand pile, man, having all this fun, getting a tan. Oh, your black self sure don't need one. Smoking dope. I mean, we just live too damn free. Blake said, shit. They lose us, and we don't come back. I mean, they ain't losing much. I mean, we ain't nothing but low boys. That's how we got the name. The infamous name, the Low Boys. It was a gun tower. We almost ran right into it in the bush. It just jumped right up out of the jungle, twisted burned out spars and bamboo and mud. It took us about a week and a half to get everything requisitioned to us, our tools and the girls' stuff wrapped up in cardboard boxes with string, their beloved teapot, and the rice bowl, and the weapons, hammers and nails, the wire, M60. We got to it right then and started throwing everything off the truck. The jungle had already tried to reclaim the clearing and grown over the wire. Swan, man, he loved that M60, all 25 pounds of it. We called her the big bitch. And I think he thought he could win a war with her himself. It's hard to say how old Jake and Willie are. Out here in the bush, old age for the Vietnamese is just a sunset away from youth. And the girls, they were the history of Vietnam on their line faces. They were short, dressed clean, hardworking, and they were good-natured. And I'm in charge of paying them all, and I got it all right here in my little black book. There's Ko-Mi, Ko-Lin, Ko-May, with an EI sister to Ko-Lin, Ko-De, Ko-Te, Ko-Shwe, and then there's Sarge. And they all start shouting, wanting something from me, mostly wanting to get paid. Where's their money? And Lynn's saying, sick last week, I sick. And Lon, she take my money? And I say, Lynn, you take Lon's money? Oh, no, I didn't take. I said, you lie to me. And then they're all shouting at me. It sounded like ducks quacking. And I can't take it. And I say, give me a break, girls, give me a break. Shut up! And they all come to attention in this little white tent. Swan say, damn, what an obedient little army, and what devotion to the leader. They all get paid about 30 cents an hour. I got that all in my little black book here too. And that's too many names to remember. And I tried and I can't do it. So I just call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sarge. Sarge, she has no number. She's just Sarge. And she's one ugly, ugly woman with a mouthful of teeth and a nasty, nasty disposition, mean to the other girls because I think they're all prettier than she is, even though she's married. So I say, she's married? Sarge? Oh, Jamie, how'd you like to stick your dick in her? And I got their wages right here in that little black book too. 30 cents an hour, 35, 40 cents. Sarge making 40 cents an hour, her being a straw boss, and she does speak the most English. Mostly it's fuck this and fuck that. Swan said to me, he said, Jamie, we paid the Army how these girls get paid. I mean, there's people out here in the bush be making nothing. They'd be fighting this war for nothing. Billy Brooks. Billy Brooks. Billy Brooks. Billy Brooks. Billy Brooks had never spoken a word that any of us ever heard that we understood. He was about that tall, about that thin, black as coal. And Billy was our driver. He drove us out into the bush. And I swear the wheel was higher than Billy's head. And he'd be driving us out there, fighting the wheel, and the truck sashaying down the road, almost coming off the road, and the jungle slapping at the sides. And Brooks, motherfucker, shit, motherfucker, this, and fool, man. And we'd be laughing and yelling, come on, Brooks, go! Roll the truck over! Roll it over! And the girls in the back crying and screaming. Swan would say, how ironic. Our lives in the hands of a heroin addict. And amen, said Blake. And amen, said Raymond. Raymond had the habit of repeating the last word spoke to him. And out here in the bush, all that heat and flies, him saying that last word was like a hammer hitting a nail over and over and over. It drives you crazy. It was so hot. I could see the sweat rising off the jungle. And at night, we set the tripwires around our heads. Practice which we can now consider to be completely useless, only we did out of habit. We tried to sleep, couldn't sleep. Humidity, the nose, and the fear. In the morning, I'd be standing there watching the jungle and the sun rise, and the girls give me a cup of that bitter green tea. Blake would come up alongside, and he'd say, Jamie, they can take us any time they want. You know that. They're going to make a point of it. There ain't none of us getting out of here alive. Well, war or no war, I was going to Mama San's. The bar was my oasis, my home away from home, and I loved everything about that bar. The clinking of the glasses, the noise, the air of the unexpected, the music blasting out of the windows at all hours, and inside the bar, I call it the war within the war. Mama San and Papa San's tumultuous, crazy relationship. Well, she was loud and bossy, and he was quiet and measured. I remember walking into the bar once and going into the back, and Papa San was out in the backyard on his hands and knees picking up photos and trying to stick them in a shoebox. And I said, Papa San, what are you doing down there? And he was scuffling around, and he said, she's thrown my possessions out so many times, pretty soon there's not going to be anything left of me at all. He grabbed a photo, showed it to me, picture of himself in a white tux, the sea. Vung Tao, he said, old memories, and put it in his shoebox. And he grabbed another one off the ground before the wind blew it away. And he said, look at this picture. Me, my father, my grandfather, and my son. I mean, you don't see many pictures of 4 generations. Put it in his shoebox. And he started shuffling off the bar like he did when he was unhappy, like an old man. And then he turned around and he said, you know, she was doing nothing at all until I found her, until I used to play my violin for her under her window at night, and she finally agreed to meet me. And you might say the violin gave her life back, and took mine away. I mean, the work never stops. I'm always toiling away. It's a gulag. And then he shuffled off into the bar. He was an artist. He played his violin all across Europe, France, the Europeans and the French and the parties and the balls. Papa San, he had a love of all fine things, cognac and cigars and women. And he used to have this mischievous look in his eyes, and when he'd say to me, he'd go, when it comes to the ladies, you must always be a gentleman. I didn't believe him at all. He was tall for a Vietnamese. He had long hair and a face dark as a chestnut. And he wore this old ragged tuxedo coat frayed around the edges, which made him look elegant in sort of a run-down kind of way. And I'd go to the bar at night, and he'd be out in front sometimes in the shadows of the bar, smoking furiously, his face dark, and I could tell from his face how he and Mama-san were getting along. And inside the bar, big party lights, the soldiers and the girls dancing and the music, Frank Sinatra and Mama-san at the center of it all, wearing those sunglasses, that hair, that red lipsticks, holding her French poodle Mau Mau and smoking cigars. And late at night, the bar was closing, and all the soldiers would be filing out into Ben Tui, headed somewhere. The girls mopping up the floors, Mama-san, Papa-san, and I, we'd sit in the bar together and we'd smoke cigars. She'd say, "Smoke, my number one GI, it's good luck, there's 3 of us." And I used to wonder who was going to stand in for me when I was out in the bush. Maybe it was the French poodle Mau Mau. And he'd have some cognac, which I'd bought the PX, and Papa-san would break it out, and she would make a toast. She would say, "To my number one GI, don't get yourself killed out there. Don't forget, you're still an American. Tuus encore un American," something in French like that. And after about 3 or 4 more cognacs, we'd be getting drunk. Papa-san would go get his violin, he'd start playing, and Mom-san would dance, and she would hand me Mau Mau, and she would dance. "Madam Ho," Papa-san called her, and she would follow that cigar in front of her like it was a bird floating. She would try to catch up to you, and she would dance across the bar, and she would dance and dance, and then she would tell me this story. She said, "I didn't start off low, I started off high. I was in France after the war, studying to be a painter, going to the cafes. I went to a big embassy ball, and I saw Ho give a speech for the Vietnamese Communist Party. Ho was a beautiful man, erudite, full of passion, when he said, we Vietnamese had to win our independence at any cost, even if the mountains burned, even if the mountains burned. How could I stay? How selfish of me to run around cafes chasing after the ghost of Picasso. I had to come home. The revolution made me come home. And then she would say, these Americans, how childlike and how innocent in their belief that they're saving us from ourselves. I mean, didn't they know that Ho patterned his own constitution after theirs? I mean, he wanted to be a junior USA in his own right. And the French, why, they had us under their boot for 2,000 years. And the two Trung sisters led a revolution and threw them out of Vietnam. I love France. I'm a Francophile from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes. And I know they had to go. I know the French had to go. They were colonialists. We were their inferiors. And yet, I still fell in love with one of them. And then she would sit down, and I would hand her Mau Mau. She'd clutch Mau Mau to her thin breast, and she would smoke cigars, and she'd look up at the ceiling, and the bar got very, very quiet. I was 18 years old when I went to war. And they sent me to survival school in case I got lost out here in the bush and how I was gonna survive. And they sent me to San Diego. We ran out on the beach, swam in the ocean. I ate something off of rocks and boiled it in my sock. Then we went and climbed in the mountains. We cut down whole trees and lit them on fire to stay warm at night. We sang songs, me and the officers, and it was a lot of fun. And they took us to an auditorium, big auditorium, and they showed us a movie. They showed us a movie about the men that we were going to fight, the enemy. And the men in the film, they were short and they were dark, just like I was now, and they were running across the floor of the jungle in sandals. And then they were pulling giant cannon up the mountains in the midst. And I could feel everyone in the auditorium pressed forward, and the anger and the hate towards those men in the film. And then we all stood up, we sang, "God Bless America." And then they marched us out in the sunlight. And I thought, how did it only take 10 minutes? 10 minutes for every jack man soldier in that auditorium to hate those men in the film. It's back in the bush. It's heels over time on the gun towers. That's what we called it when the day was done. Heels over, and that the smoking lamp was lit and the dope was passing. And we were passing the joints around, teasing with each other, telling dirty jokes, and watching the jungle, getting ready for the sunset, the big light show we call it. And we all huddle around and wait for the sunset, waiting to see if one was going to be better than the last one we saw and better than the one before that. "It's big," I said. Swan said, "Yeah, it's big, Jamie, but it's not empty." And I said, "It's beautiful, though." Raymond said, "Beautiful." And I said, "Hey, Swan, would you come back here to the war? I mean, after we got out of here alive, would you come back?" He said, "Jamie, I'm going home to Maine. I'm getting on a lobster boat, and I'm never getting off of it." And then Blake stood up and he said, "Man, I think somebody should have seen this shit coming, don't you? I mean, this shit. I mean, the boys, the girls, Jake and Will, they're just like me, doing all the slave work. I mean, back home, I was behind a plow and a horse and a mule at my grandfather's farm. And I wonder how that farm is now. Not that it was much of anything, you know, but it's where I got my military training." And then Blake got down off the towers, and he got down on his hands and knees, and he picked up a pile of dirt. He said, "Look, boys, it's in the dirt, man. I'm a farmer. I can grow something here, man. We got all the sunshine and rain. I mean, we can grow weed here. We grow the best damn whole weed in the world. We grow little boys' weed. I mean, we already got Jake and Willie and the girls. After the war, we come back. We have ourselves a weed farm." Swan said, "Hey, Blake, man, I thought you was a revolutionary." "I am a revolutionary. I'm a weed revolutionary." "No, your black self is going to be just another businessman." "No, man," he said, "I can see it now. White, he's going to be in charge of security." "White? White is fucking crazy." But we were going good out there, and for a while I thought, maybe we can make it. Maybe we can get out of here alive. And the gun towers, we were probably on the third one now. They started standing up straight and didn't lean over so much like twisted pirate ships at first. It was Blake. He was the one who knew how to build things. Blake was the carpenter, and we just followed him along. I think it was Blake's salvation. And even Billy Brooks still knew what a piece of wood was, and he dragged the wood up and he'd go off to himself mumbling. But we all worked together out there like a family. And me and the girls, we got along. Damn, we got along. Those girls could work. They were short and stout and strong and good-natured, and we sweated and we stank together out there side by side, and we joked. I joked with them, and they joked with me, and they'd say, "Paul, man, you need wife." And I said, "No, thank you, I've got Swan." And they would laugh and howl, and I'd go over and I'd grab May, and I'd pick her up and I'd tickle her so hard she would laugh, sit down there in the sand, the clearing, and pee her pants, leaving the sand stain, sobbing, and the girls howling, and I'd pick her up, arms around me sobbing. I could smell the sweat in the river in her clothes, the river in my clothes. And I'd take her and I'd go dunk her off in a water hole. Well, the rains had been threatening a long time, the clouds hanging over the jungle, and then the monsoons came, and the rains came, and the water, and the thunder, and the lightning down in the clearing, and the wind howling, and the rain, it seemed like all the rain in the world got dumped on us right there in the clearing, and the raindrops big as my thumb, and that meant we were going to have to come back. God damn it, Blake said. Damn it, Raymond said. And then Swan, he took off all his clothes naked, and he danced out in the rain, and we hooped and hollered, and the girls standing under the trees, their eyes big, never having seen a naked white man before. And then I said, fuck it too, and I took my clothes off, and I grabbed Swan, and we danced in the clearing, and danced. Let it rain, come on, brothers, let it rain, let it rain. The monsoons came, and that meant the war stopped. Nothing could travel down the roads. The roads were deep and thick and dark mud. And I had a hard time hitchhiking to Mama's Sons, but I was determined to get there, and I finally got a ride. And I went down to the bar, and I walked in, and there was Mama's Son, Kristen Dior sunglasses, counting her pile of money, happy to see me. She said, Mom, number one GI. I said, they haven't killed you yet. I said, not yet. And then I saw Papa's son sticking something under that tuxedo coat. He was always doing something, trying to pull something over on Mama's son. I said, what's that under your coat? He said, never you mind. We got places to go. And he threw open the door and he said, we got to go. Let's go into the fray. We went out into the street and out into the mud. And you know what's left over from the occupation and the sergeant, the lost liver, was his Renault, which looked like a giant rusted toad. And so Papa's son couldn't drive or wouldn't drive, didn't want to drive. I used to drive us all over town, pick up provisions for the bars, and the Renault chugging along in the mud, slowly, barely making headway. He would say, just don't put a scratch on this thing, Jamie. She'd kill us both. I mean, she loves this car more than anything. And I'd drop him off on the street and do some bar business. He'd go in the store and come back outside. He'd be surrounded. The whole town, people wanting something, pulling at him. He'd be smoking cigarettes, trying to get away. He'd come back to Reno and throw himself in the seat, exhausted. He'd say, alas, I can't go anywhere. I'm a public figure. And we'd take off, the Renault chugging against that mud. He'd be shouting directions to these landmarks. He'd say, take a left here, Jimmy. Go down, keep on going. Go down past the ice house and take a right past the coffin shop. But God, don't stop there. I'm not ready to die yet. And out of some pretext for bar business, every time we were in town, we'd stop off at his friend Chin Loy's so they could smoke cigarettes. Chin Loy's house, covered in white bougainvilleas with an iron gate in the front. And they'd go out in the backyard and they'd smoke cigarettes furiously, smoking Chinese and Vietnamese, and I'd sit down in the dirt and wait for them, listening to their voices like a song, waiting for Papa's son. And one time we were headed over to the bar with a carton of Marlboros for Chin Loy. Papa's son held the carton of Marlboros with those beautiful musician's fingers of his, and he said, you know what I really like about these Americans? It's their cigarettes, especially the presentation, the red pack covered in clear plastic. These Americans are very clever. And then he put the pack in with the other packs, and he put them under his coat, and he went into Chin Loy's, and he came right back out, shuffling along like he did when he was unhappy. And he said, oh my God, Chin Loy stopped taking tobacco after 30 years. It was his great pleasure. It was our great pleasure together. And he sat back in Reno like something else had been taken away from him. We'd come back to the bar with the Reno pile of provisions, beer and cigarettes and things sticking out the windows like heads and lead. And Mama's son would be waiting in the front of the bar for her. So, she would say, you two been out having fun. Papa's son would say, oh no, like we've been toiling in the fields all day, it's been hard work. And he'd be shuffling off the bar and she'd be giving him an earful. You're dismissed from duty, he would say, and I would be left alone to unload the Renault. Mama saw she couldn't stand the thought of us having any fun at all. And him playing the violin, well, if she couldn't make any money out of it, she didn't like it. And the thought of him loving something more than her was too much for her to bear. And he'd play his violin late at night out behind the bar in the back, sitting on a plastic bucket, playing away to the stars. And she would shout down, "Stop that noise, Papa Son, you crazy old man. You're keeping the girls awake." And he would shout back up, "I'm an artist. I can't stop the music. It comes when it wants. I can't let a little thing like a war stop me. This is not a hobby. I'm not a dentist." She would say, "Well, right now you're a bartender." And he'd say, "Oh, man, filthy lucre, money, dong, piastres. All she cares about is money, greenbacks, as you would say." I'd say, "Papa Son, I think she loves you." He said, "It's not love, Jamie. It's a condition. The war has thrown us together." The war, I think Mama San saw it as a necessary evil, survival. She used to say, "We don't know when we're going to have another war. We don't know how long this one's going to last." She was a failed artist. She was completely devoted to the cause of making money. There's always something wrong in Mama San's world. Broken furniture, junk TIs, jealous lovers, maybe one of the girls getting pregnant, one of the girls getting gonorrhea. The thought of a good outbreak of the clap sent her down to her room in tears, even though she used to march the girls down to the doctor's office once a month like they were schoolgirls. When I was mad at her, I used to call her the Iron Mistress, the Dragon Lady, the Alligator Woman. And I used to think all she cared about was money. She'd be peering at me with those sunglasses, and the only time I'd ever seen her top of her eyes when she peeled the glasses down, I thought, I've never seen her eyes at all under those sunglasses. Mama San could have been anything, man. She spoke Chinese, French, German, English, Vietnamese. She could have been anything she wanted with that red lipstick and that hair and those sunglasses. I think she wanted to be Marilyn Monroe. And you never knew what Mama San was thinking. Never. Don't even try to figure it out. She was an enigma. It was her bar or the highway. One time she caught me off guard, and I was walking out the back of the bar with Swan at night. She came up right behind me. She said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too." Papa San would say, "Jamie, I think you're the only one that can make her happy." I said, "Me?" He said, "Yes, you. She'd like to keep you on a retainer here in the bar. And ever since you showed up, electricity's been working. Me, I'm on another kind of a retainer." His face got dark. But he used to take me with him when he played weddings downtown. He'd take his violin, never let anybody touch that violin himself, that beloved Chinese violin, the Verdu. And we go to the weddings, and the women, and those traditional long Auschwitz dresses, buttoned down the front, intricate patterns. Papa San would say, "They don't walk in those dresses, they float. They're beautiful." And there were presents wrapped in red paper, and after the ceremony, the men smoking and piles of food, the women dancing. In the center of it all, Papa San playing his violin. Heels over time, you know what that means. Smoking lamp is lit. We're passing the dope. We're teasing each other. We're having fun. We're waiting for the light show. And the sky that night was fiery red swath, and then a hand, like a hand on fire, grabbing the sky. And then I could hear something down by the river, something coming from the south, noise. Listen to it right now. This Sound of the choppers coming. The choppers are coming, the helicopters coming down from the south. You can always tell the sound of the choppers here. You never forget that sound. Never forget that sound in the bush. A man down, a chopper comes and gets him. You never forget that sound. And all of a sudden, the chopper flew over the top of the clearing into that red sky. And Swan said, "It's two of our choppers, man. That's gunships headed north. Man, that's our squadron. That's Sea Wolves. You can see it on the insignias on the side. Now, a bunch of Johnsons up there. Man, that's one lucky guy. And me, stuck down here in this hotel for rats." Hotel for rats, Raymond said. And I said, "Damn, you hear that?" Raymond said 3 words. I think he's added to his vocabulary. And Blake said, "Yeah, it must be the fresh air." And then all of a sudden, the jungle just sucked the light right out of the sky, and it was black. It was so black I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. All I could see was the coal at the end of the joint. And I was passing at Swan when I thought I saw something at the end of that coal out in the jungle moving. And I saw a shape, and then another shape, joining together with another shape, moving together, moving forward. So I said, "Hey, Swan, you see that?" And he said, "Yeah, over there." And I said, "No, man, over there. We got something coming up at us out of the bush. I think we got zips in the wire. Get down off the tower, boy. Get down off the tower, boys. Get down there. Get the 60. Get the fucking 60. We got zips." And then we were standing there pointing our weapons at the bush. And 2 water buffalo wandered into the camp into the firelight, staring at us with soft eyes. We went, fuck, and we fired our weapons into the jungle. "Burn, you devils, burn," firing our weapons, and then roll on the ground, laughing and crying and screaming, and the water buffalo just staring at us with those soft eyes. Sarge came over and she said, "You all dig it down. Y'all crazy. I was crazy. Fucking dinky dow, crazy. If White was crazy, I was crazy. If White had put something over his soul, I had put something over my soul. I had put the belief somehow I could protect us. But it was my fear that hung all over me like tatters. And I thought, if I'm not the enemy of the men in the film, what am I? I'm on this bit of dirt right here, Blake's dirt, and from down below I can see all the way up. I can see the lies all the way up, and there is no country. I don't give a damn about this war. I don't give a damn about anything. I only care about me and the girls and the boys and Jake and Willie. And we want to go home. And I thought, can my love stop death? Before I came to the Nam, I didn't know anything about death at all. I lived in the suburbs, and everybody looked the same. All the moms were young, and they looked the same, and nothing ever died in the suburbs. The only thing that ever did die was a family dog which got hit in the street. My father had another dog that afternoon, a bigger dog, a better dog, and I didn't even have a chance to grieve. I was too young, and I didn't know anything about death. But here in Annam, death can take those I love. Way back when, months ago, before I came into the bush, Swan and I took Brownie's body off the chopper and a green body bag, carried him into the flight deck, and I just remember the dead weight of that body, and we almost dropped Brownie 4 or 5 times hauling him into the flight hangar. I just remember the dead fucking weight. And in the long way, Brownie's toes slipped out of the zipper, sticking out white and big against all that green plastic. And then me and Swan, we set Brownie's body down, gentle, flight hangar, and we walked outside. And Swan said to me, he said, "Jane, is that all that's left of Brownie?" I started thinking the jungle could hear me, hear us in the clearing. And I started thinking the jungle wanted something from me. So I started making sorties out into it. 10 steps, 20 steps, half a mile, and I got out 2 miles. I used to stand under the trees in the clearing, the canopy overhead, and the sunlight, and listen. Sometimes I could think I could hear singing coming out of the jungle. And one time I saw a man and a woman washing their clothes in the stream, and they saw me, and they took off running into the jungle, and I thought, I wonder if they're going to go tell the men in the film that I am here, and if they did, they would see that I was afraid. I draw lines in the clearing, and I stand on one side, and I draw another line, and I stand on that side, and then another line, and I stand on that side, and I say, what will I be if I'm not the enemy of the men in the film? Who am I? What am I? And Swan used to say, Jamie, what will you do if they come for us? And what I wanted to do, I wanted to put White right out in front of me in the jungle, and I wanted to hide behind White with my fear. I wanted to put my fear behind him because White had killed before. And White and Death, they had a pact. They were friends, and my fear was going to hide behind White. Only my fear was so great, it's like a beacon shot right out in the jungle, wide and far. My fear out in the jungle. And at the end of that fear, the men in the film would see that fear, and they would follow all the way here into the clearing, into this bit of dirt, on the Blake's dirt, and they would find me. And I remember what Blake told me. He said, Jamie, you know they can take us anytime they want. They're going to make a point of it. There ain't none of us getting out of here alive, brother. There ain't none of us. They will come for us. It's Christmas in Vietnam. Whoa, Christmas in Vietnam. We were back in the barracks and out of the bush, and the boys take a shower, and they comb their hair back, and they were headed down to Mama Son's Christmas Eve. And then me and Swan, we took the girls and stuck them in the deuce and a half, and we drove over to the PX, and we got Christmas presents for their families. Beer and cigarettes and boom boxes, and we loaded them up, and we went to town on the way to Mama Son's, and the road was filled with trucks and jeeps and soldiers and Vietnamese barely making headway down the road, and the soldiers firing their weapons off into the jungle, red tracers, and firing into the river, red tracers. And we went through a roadblock, me and Swan and Benson Moy, all the way down into Bentuit. Good old Company W's taxi service. We dropped the girls off in their families, and they were happy and laughing and giggling, home with their families. And Swan and I turned around. We drove all the way back down to the base, down the road, the river on one side of us, and the tracers, red flares. And then all of a sudden the jungle ablaze and on fire. And we were singing Christmas carols all the way back, Silent Night and whatnot. Went back to the barracks. I got under my rack. I got out my Christmas present my mom would send me, and I knew there was going to be candy in there. And then Swan, he went over and got his bottle of Jack Daniels, and we were going out to our hooch and had a Christmas party. Tyler walked into the barracks, and he said Johnson was shot down in the river. The whole chopper was gone. They were all lost. Johnson took some guy's mission that night, had the flu, and then they crashed in the river, and they were all gone. I said, Tyler, no way, man. Johnson, that's a California surfer, brother. That guy can swim. He's probably swimming home right now. He's got to be swimming back to the coast. The Vietnamese probably bringing him right down the river in a boat. He's going to come right in through the barracks door, and that's exactly where we're going to stand, me and Swan, until Johnson came home to us. We were going to stand right there. He was going to come walking through that barracks door, shuffling along like he did, and that way, and that shy smile, and that handsome face. And we stood there, until he brought us Johnson's helmet, cracked in the front, and the blood and the mud in the river, and we knew he was dead then. And we took the helmet, went to our hooch, and we put it up on top of a locker. We sat down, and we looked at that helmet. And then command, they sent some MPs to get that helmet. And I grabbed Swan and Tyler and Gedros. We went to town to Mama's Sons, and we stopped on the bridge over the river, and Getty took his flight wings off, and he threw them out into the river like a stone skipping, and he said, "What does it matter? What does it matter? Christmas in Vietnam." I was running. I was done with the war, and I told Swan goodbye, and I walked right off the base, right past the security shack, right out into the road, the dusty, dirty, hot road, and dust blowing over my head, and the trucks, and the Vietnamese, and the soldiers. I caught myself a ride down to the chopper field. I caught myself a ride to the port city of Vung Tau, Papa San's city by the sea, his city of memories. And I got on a chopper as we lifted off and banked out over the river. I could feel the river trying to pull me down into it. And then we broke free and we flew out all over those rice paddies. The orderliness of those rice paddies, that ancient countryside, and the kids sitting on those water buffalo with those pointed hats, and we banked out over the jungle. And we flew up into the sky and into the clouds, into that blue sky. And I could feel the wind in the cockpit. And then we flew in over the mountains down into the South China Seas and the port city of Vung Tau, and all the freighters from everywhere in the whole world out in the sea. And that night, I swam out into the bay. And I swam out between those ships, and I told myself, Jamie, just keep swimming. Just swim and swim and swim. You can swim out of this insanity and this madness. And then too tired to swim anymore, I lay on my back, full moon hanging in front of my face, between those tall ships, and I could hear the voices of the sailors. And I lay there until the fear and the panic of what was underneath me drove me to swim back to the shore. Exhausted, I slept on the beach. And in the morning, sun coming up over the ocean, I could see the villagers being giant sea snakes decked with sticks. And I caught a ride back to the chopper field. I was going back to the war. I was going back to the war. I went out on a landing pad. I said, hey, I need a ride here. Come on. I'm going to Ben Tui, man. I'm going to Ben Tui. I need a ride to Ben Tui. I was dreaming. I was lost and caught in the jungle, and the jungle was clutching at me and pulling and twisting and pulling me down into her like a woman, into the fecund moss and the black mud. And I was twisting and trying to get free, and I could feel the jungle pulling me down and pulling me down. And far off, down by the river from the south, I hear the choppers coming to get me. Listen to the choppers, the tom thump of the chopper blades coming to get me. And I was praying. Sister of death, sister of mercy, black sister of death, black sister of mercy, lift me up out of here, take me out of the shit and out of the betrayal. And I could feel the great curved metal side of the chopper, and I could see the red running lights in the ring, and I could hear the chopper blades singing, holy, 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 lift me up out of the shit, take me out of here. And then I was free and lifting away in the jungle, and a woman falling away, and I was free. And then I could hear the thump, 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 thump of the raindrops on my poncho, taking me awake, and I was back in the bush. I was awake, and I was in the bush. And I was watching the jungle, and then I was drinking a cup of the tea the girls gave me. I was watching the tea leaves floating and forming at the bottom of the cup. And I asked myself, I said, if the angel of death and the angel of mercy are one and the same thing, there is no more questions to be answered out here. I was in the shit, and I was going to have to find my own way out of it. We went back to finish what we started. Monsoons had ended, and the black sky's gone, and the bright light, the sun. some storm clouds. The clearing filled with mud, and when I walked across it, I was clutching at my boots, trying to pull my boots off like fingers. We were tired, man, we were tired. We walked around each other like strangers out there, me and the boys and the girls, and Blake snapped the cheek and Willie. And I thought White was going to shoot Raymond right there, and we sent White to watch the jungle. I don't think we even cared anymore. And there was a gully, a long gully at the end of the camp. We went down into the jungle, steep gully. I was worried about that gully, and I told myself, if they come, James, they're going to come here up that gully, shoved a bunch of wire down in it, not enough wire. I thought if they come, they're going to come here. That night, covered in mud, tired from pushing sandbags up the gun tower and nailing on a tin roof, we didn't even put the watch out at it. We didn't care. And the moon came up, and the moon was full and awful. It turned the clearing into daylight. And there was a million stars in the sky, and a shooting star suddenly blazed, fallen and then gone. And it was late, and I was sleeping under my poncho, sleeping. It was cold. A shroud of fog had come in over the camp, and lay all over the camp, and it was late. I was sleeping, and I could hear my grandmother's voice yelling me awake. Wake up, Jamie, run now, run, run. And I got up and I ran towards the gully, and I could hear her voice yelling, run, Jamie, run. And I knew I had to be there first, and I forgot my fucking weapon, but I knew I had to be there first, and I ran to the clearing, and then me and the men in the film almost ran right into each other, and the first man had his gun pointed right at my chest, and his eyes full of anger and hate. I stuck my hand out and I said, no. And then under the moonlight, I could see his face and his eyes, and then the hate and the anger went away. And then he and the other men, they went back down the gully, past the wire that they pushed aside, and they went back out into the jungle, into the moonlight. And when I turned around, there was Kobe staring at me. And I put my arm around her, and we went back to the others. We went to sleep. I was so happy my tour of duty was over. And I was going down to Benson to say goodbye to Mama San and Papa San. When I got there, the bar was closed, and they were gone, and nobody knew where they went. And then I was shaking hands with Swan on the front of the barracks saying goodbye. And then the girls were there, all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And yeah, Sarge, now suddenly looking beautiful. And they took their hats off, and I could see their black hair gleaming in the sunlight, and those fresh brown scrub faces, and those white teeth. And I thought, man, I can't leave them. I could never get out of here. And I put my head down, and I told the driver, let's go. And we drove down to the chopper field. I caught a flight to Saigon. And suddenly I was home. My friends were dead, Johnson, Brownie. And I was walking up the driveway to my father's house. I was two people then. I was one person looking forward, and I was one person looking backwards. And then I saw the love in my father's eyes when he threw the door open, and my duffel bag hit the doorway, and I walked into the house, and the neighborhood looked just the same, achingly the same. That long, hot street was quiet and gold, just like all the summers past. And I could hear the kids at the swimming pool, out at the ballpark playing baseball. Just when I thought I was that kid, that same kid belonged here in the neighborhood. It's when the ghosts of the dead came along the back fence. And they stood alongside me in the front yard. I slowly made enemies out of all those neighbors. We're killing them, aren't we? We got to kill them all, don't we? I mean, we're winning this war, aren't we? I was under the shower, and the hot water long going cold, and I was dreaming. I was dreaming. I was in the river of the dead with Johnson and Browning, and I was in the river of the dead, and I would never come out. And when the monsoons came, they washed away the bricks Papa San put in front of the bar, and the water got too swift and deep, and then nobody came, and then Mama San, Papa San, I was sitting at the bar alone late at night, smoking cigars late at night alone in the bar, and I would never come out. Then after a long time, my parents would come, they'd turn the shower off, and I'd get up and I walked outside, and my footprints stained the hardwood floors, and I went in the backyard, and my mom and dad were standing looking at me under the oak tree, the ping pong table, staring at me. They wanted me to be the same as I was before, but I never could be. I'd seen too much. They were staring at me, and I wanted to reach out to my mom and dad right there, pull them to me. I couldn't do it. And one day, walking down the hall, my mom grabbed me, she said, "You're pale, Jamie. You look like you're dying." And I knew I had to get out of there. And so one fall day, I took everything I owned, I stuck it in a paper bag, and I walked out of that neighborhood, fall day, and the leaves turning rust and gold, and the tree limbs over my head like fingers touching. I walked out of that street, a childhood street, a long street. You hear the kids watching TV and laughing. Got down to the end of the street, went to the freeway. Went down to the freeway, headed south. And when I got down there, I looked back up in my neighborhood, and it was like that kid I was never there. It never existed. I was gone.